Coming up on Spartan Sports Report, Michigan State hockey appeared in its first NCAA tournament since 2008, taking on two in-state rivals in the process. The baseball team played 5 games in 6 days, including a dramatic finish you won't want to miss. And the women's tennis team hosted a pair of Big Ten opponents, eyeing its first conference win of the season.
Welcome into a new episode of Spartan Sports Report. I am Yusuf Anaya.
And I'm Elisa Luker. Spring sports are in full effect here in East Lansing, but we're going to start down in Maryland Heights, Missouri, where Michigan State hockey was competing for a spot in the Frozen Four.
The Michigan State hockey team traveled to Maryland Heights, Missouri for the NCAA tournament where they took on the Western Michigan Broncos. Western Michigan controlled the ice for the first 2 periods as they were quick to get on the board just 7 minutes into the game and would lead 4-2 going into the 3rd period. The Spartans would respond with a Nash Nienhuis goal followed by an amazing pass from Artem Levshunov to Carson Dorwart that tied the game with just 55 seconds left. In overtime, Jeremy Davidson would play hero for the Spartans, getting one in the net, giving Michigan State their first NCAA tournament victory since 2008 with a 5-4 win. Moving on to the final round of the regional portion, the Spartans would take on the Michigan Wolverines for the 6th time this season. Hear what some fans had to say before the big matchup.
I think Michigan's got a bone to pick. I think they're going to come out hot, considering they didn't win the Big Ten. And I think it's going to be a battle. I mean, obviously, grudge match every time they meet, but especially now.
Oh, I think it's going to be a fast game. I think it's going to be a great game. They're two very evenly matched teams, honestly, but I think that we have the better goalie.
Michigan's going to come out pretty tough in this one like they played against North Dakota the other night, but I think Michigan State's more rested and they're going to be waiting for it.
It's really hard to beat a team a lot of times in a season, and as long as they can get it done when it really matters, then you just put it all behind you and go win the next game.
Yes. It would be well worth the losses to win today.
Agreed.
This was the 6th time the two teams played this season, and these are just a few of the 40 goals they've scored on one another this year. This regional final matchup started intense, with Michigan State striking first on a power play goal from freshman Gavin O'Connell. And Michigan State struggled to stay out of the penalty box with 5 minor penalties on the night, but Trey Augustine stood tall on his head with 30 saves. But 6 minutes into the 2nd period, Michigan's Ethan Edwards tied the game for the Wolverines, and Marshall Warren would give them the lead. And at the 10-minute mark, the Spartans got a chance on the power play, and Joey Larson would end a 13-game scoring drought to tie the game again. The game had a potential to go into overtime in the 3rd, but the Wolverines would score 2 goals just 12 seconds apart. Dylan Duke would put in 1 more for good measure and secure a 5-2 victory for the Wolverines, sending them to their 3rd consecutive Frozen Four. Michigan State's historic season ends in heartbreaking fashion, but Coach Adam Nightingale said the Spartans are holding their heads up high, knowing what they've accomplished and what is to come.
Class, and I thought our guys finished the game in that type of environment really well. And that's important, what we're trying to do. I still think we're laying a foundation of building a program here, and those are key ingredients for at least what I value in a program.
Last Tuesday, MSU baseball traveled to Ann Arbor to play in-state rival Michigan and picked up where they left off last season with another dominating win. Michigan State was leading 9-3 at the bottom of the 8th, and after about a 30-minute rain delay, the Spartans maintained their momentum, finishing the 9th inning with a 16-6 win. All 9 starters were involved, having at least 1 hit and 1 run each. Moving into Wednesday now, the Spartans took on the Oakland Golden Grizzlies at McLean Stadium for their first matchup of the season. The Golden Grizzlies took an early 5-run lead in the 2nd inning until MSU catcher Noah Bright launched a 2 RBI double into right field to make it 5-2. He continued the momentum in the 4th inning with a home run to left field, and by the end of the 4th, the Spartans were able to tie the score at 6-6. Despite the late push by the green and white, they weren't able to take complete control of the game and fell to Oakland 11-7. Following 2 games against in-state rivals, MSU opened a 3-game series at McLean Stadium against Rutgers this past weekend. After dropping the first game on Friday, the Spartans responded with a win on Saturday with help from senior Jack Frank's 3-run homer to set up a rubber match on Easter Sunday. MSU trailed 2-0 going into the bottom of the 7th, and prior to this match, Rutgers was 17-0 when leading after 6 innings this season. The Spartans rallied to tie it on an RBI double from freshmen Landon Lozier and Jack Frank's RBI single. The game remained tied going into the bottom of the ninth, where Nick Williams hit a 2-out double, setting the stage for true freshman Ryan McKay, who knocked a line drive base hit into the right center field gap to send Williams across home plate, winning the game and the series for MSU. The Spartans improved to 12-14 and will travel to South Bend to face the Notre Dame Fighting Irish on Tuesday night.
Over the weekend, the women's tennis team hosted a pair of Big Ten opponents, starting with Purdue on Saturday. In doubles, the Boilermakers won 2 matches, 6-3 and 6-2. Michigan State looked to bounce back in singles and kept each match close, but only collected 1 point from graduate Nicole Connard, who won in straight sets. Purdue would win with an overall score of 4-1. Now on Sunday against Indiana, the Spartans would secure the doubles point, winning 6-4 in straight matches. They'd win 3 more points in singles, led by Matilde Morais, who won in straight sets. Michigan State got their first Big Ten victory of the season, beating Indiana 4-0. They will host Michigan this Saturday at 4 p.m.
Coming off a series loss to Northwestern, the Michigan State softball team traveled to Iowa City to take on the Hawkeyes as Big Ten play continues. After falling 4-0 on Friday, the Spartans came back hungry, playing a doubleheader on Saturday. In the first game, sophomore Hannah Hawley hit 2 home runs and senior Liv Gray pitched a complete game as Michigan State claimed an 8-2 victory for their first Big Ten win of the season. However, in Game 2 of the day, Iowa hit a walk-off single to claim a 1-0 victory and the series. The Spartans' record moves to 13-19 with the Indiana Hoosiers coming to Sequia Stadium for a 3-game series next weekend.
Now on to men's tennis. Michigan State traveled to Champaign on Saturday for a road matchup against Illinois. The Spartans found themselves in a 3-0 deficit early, but managed to win 4 straight singles matches to pull off an impressive 4-3 comeback win. This marked the first win for the men's team against the Fighting Illini since 1997. The next day, they took to Evanston for a match with the Wildcats of Northwestern. And after losing the doubles point, Michigan State won 5 of 6 matches to win with a score of 5-2. Michigan State improves to 4-0 in the Big Ten and 18-3 overall.
The men's golf team competed in the Bridgestone Collegiate Invitational earlier this week and had 2 Spartans finish in the top 15. The Spartans finished in 4th place behind BYU, Sam Houston, and Nihon. The team had a strong finish, shooting 7 under par on the back 9 of their final round, and Ashton McCullough led the team with a 4 under, which was good for 5th place. The golf team only has 2 more matches before the Big Ten Championships on April 26th.
Michigan State track and field traveled to North Carolina to compete in the Rally Relays this weekend. On Thursday, sophomore Colby Morlock had a PR in the shot put, winning the competition by over 2 feet. And Katie Stewart Barnett won the 3,000 meter on Friday with a time of 10 minutes and 1 second. The Spartans will honor their seniors on Friday as they host the Spartan Invite.
That's all for this week's edition of Spartan Sports Report.
Be sure to follow all of our social media below, as well as the Spartan Newsroom website for more great content. From all of our great staff and crew, I'm Yusuf Anaya.
And I'm Elisa Luker. We'll see you next week.